Hi guys, this is Zach from Watches on You, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Oris Aquis Chronograph. Now, this watch is for sure one of the most popular mid-level Swiss chronographs on the market, as you can just look at its design. I love the beautiful dark blue sunray dial. It looks absolutely spectacular. It offers some other features that a lot of other watches don't, such as having a ceramic bezel insert. But now let's move on to this watch's case. So the case is 46 millimeters and it's stainless steel, and you can see that it is finished very, very nicely. It has very little polishing, which adds to its kind of sporty or more industrial looking aspect of this piece. But you can see that the finishing is actually very, very high quality. If you just look at the lines going across that brushing there, very uniform, really no imperfections. It's got some polishing over the tops of the lugs on both sides. And then you have nice polished chronograph pushers, as well as some screws in the side of the case that again give it a more industrial look. So going on to the dial / bezel of this piece, you can see that this is obviously again a chronograph, as it's got three large subdials. The 12 o'clock is the minute counter, the 9 o'clock is the running seconds, the 6 o'clock is the hour counter up to 12 hours, and there's a date wheel also inside of the hour counter. Now, this piece, the one thing I will say about this dial is sometimes it can be a little hard to read, as it's very dark and there aren't necessarily huge contrasts, but that shouldn't be a huge problem in daily life, so I don't worry about it too much. I just thought it's something I should mention. Now, going on to the bezel, and then I'll demonstrate the chronograph. So the bezel actually, as I said, has a ceramic insert, which is very rare for a watch around the $3,600 price point, that's the price of this piece, as ceramic can be very hard to manufacture, and also it can be very expensive. But the benefit to that is that ceramic almost will never be scratched. Really the only thing that can scratch it is diamond, and you're probably not going to be coming across diamonds too much in your daily life, but I don't really know your lifestyle. So moving back to the chronograph now, or demonstrate it. So the chronograph starts as always with a pusher at the top here, and while I'm letting it go, this watch does use it uses an ETA based chronograph, and that's really really common for watches in this price point. You're not really going to find an in-house movement at this point. It's still a little too, I'd say, too cheap for that, even though it's not cheap, but you're probably going to have to be spending for sure, I'd say, above $5,000 if you want an in-house chronograph. Now, that doesn't really put any hit on this piece. ETA makes very, very nice chronograph movements. Their Valjoux is one of the most well-known and most renowned chronograph movements ever to be made, as it's just extremely robust, reliable, and very easy to service, which actually is a good thing, because if you're using an ETA movement or a non-in-house movement, chances are it's going to be a lot cheaper to service. So now we're going to let it go past the 12 o'clock. You can see the minute tick up at the top right there. Right now, you can see it move right there. So now we're at 1, and then I'll do a reset. Now, as it's an automatic chronograph, it's just going to fly right back to 12 o'clock. Now, one thing I actually didn't demonstrate yet is the Bezel Action. So the bezel is 120 click, which is good, so you can measure every half second. And the action, though, is very, very rough. It's not very smooth. It does lock down fairly well. There's not too much wiggle there, but it's not smooth. It's definitely not like a Rolex Submariner, but again, you would never expect it to be, as this watch is well below that price point. So now just bringing it back up to 12 o'clock. Now we're going to move on to a wrist shot. So let me take this glove off here. And on the wrist, this watch is very, very large. I mean, the 46 millimeter case, that's a bit larger for my liking than I would like to keep it. I prefer sports watches that are around the 40 millimeter size range. And so this is large for my liking. I have a 7-inch wrist, so for reference, just know that. And If you have a small wrist, I'd say this would definitely not be a piece for you, as it's also extremely thick, but that is owing to the fact that this watch has a 500-meter water resistance, which is, believe me, more than enough, and it's also a great feature of this piece, so just keep that in mind. The strap this one comes on is a very supple, nice, genuine rubber strap. Feels very, very good on the wrist. It also has a beautiful deployant clasp right here. You can see that it's got micro adjusters as well. These are very easy to use. You just push in and pull it wherever you need to. I really like this. I think really any dive watch or sports watch should have some form of a micro adjusting clasp, and it's very nice that they put one on this piece. So overall, this piece is available for $3,600. We'll have a link in the description if you want to inquire more about purchasing this piece or learn more about this watch. And it's available here at JB Hudson if you're looking for it for $3,600, as they're an authorized dealer of Oris as well. They lent us this piece to review, so I'd like to give a thank you to them for that. But thank you for watching this video, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you.